As we head toward the next election, it's becoming increasingly clear that former President Donald Trump is losing the support of many voters who once rallied behind his "Make America Great Again" slogan. His promises, which once resonated with millions, now seem like empty words. The voters who once believed in him, those who handed him his 2016 victory, are waking up to a harsh truth. Trump has betrayed them. His cabinet appointments, political decisions, and policy choices have alienated his core supporters, many of whom are now openly regretting their votes. In the lead-up to another presidential election, Trump's reputation among his base is unraveling as MAGA voters grapple with the reality that their once-beloved leader has failed to deliver on his promises. Far from being the champion of the people that he once claimed to be, Trump's recent choices, particularly in his cabinet, have sparked frustration, confusion, and deep disappointment. But it's not just about cabinet picks. Trump's broken promises extend to his economic policies, foreign policy decisions, and failure to follow through on the promises that motivated his election. This video delves deep into how Trump's betrayals have left MAGA voters feeling betrayed and disillusioned. Cabinet picks, a slap in the face to MAGA voters. When Donald Trump first campaigned for office, he promised to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C., vowing to rid the government of the same politicians and bureaucrats who had been there for decades. He vowed to appoint individuals who were outsiders, people who wouldn't be beholden to the corrupt political elites in Washington. However, in the years following his victory, many of the people he selected to serve in his administration have turned out to be exactly the type of political insiders he campaigned against. One of the most glaring examples of this betrayal can be seen in his cabinet picks. While Trump promised to put America first, many of his cabinet selections seemed to prioritize loyalty over competence. For instance, the appointment of Jeff Sessions as Attorney General, despite his controversial record on civil rights, left many MAGA voters questioning Trump's commitment to justice reform. Sessions was quickly seen as a disappointment to those who thought Trump would choose someone who would aggressively pursue policies that benefited working-class Americans. Then there's the selection of cabinet members like Betsy DeVos, who many felt had little to no experience in public education. DeVos was widely criticized for her lack of understanding of public school systems and her ties to the billionaire class. These appointments signaled that Trump's commitment to the working class was often more rhetoric than substance. Trump's choices have left many of his supporters feeling deeply betrayed. On online forums and social media, the once loyal base is expressing growing frustration. Many are questioning why the president has surrounded himself with so many billionaires and establishment figures. "I regret voting for you, Trump," one MAGA voter commented on a popular online discussion board. "Your cabinet picks have been a disaster." What was once seen as an effort to drain the swamp has instead evolved into a lineup of political insiders who are more focused on maintaining their power than representing the people who supported Trump. The Antix Controversy, a cabinet pick that divides. Trump's decision to appoint Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to a prominent position in his administration only added fuel to the fire. Kennedy, known for his outspoken views against vaccines, has become one of the most divisive figures in American politics. For many of Trump's supporters, this was the final straw. While some of Trump's base might have supported his stance on health care and personal freedoms, the appointment of Kennedy, who has repeatedly pushed anti-vaccine rhetoric, alienated voters who had once trusted Trump's ability to deliver a more balanced approach to health policy. MAGA voters, many of whom had backed Trump because of his stance against government overreach, found themselves caught in the middle of an internal contradiction. They believed Trump's message of freedom, but the appointment of an anti-vaccine advocate led many to wonder if Trump's administration was taking a dangerous turn. After all, vaccines have been a cornerstone of public health policy in America, and Trump's embrace of someone so vehemently opposed to them created a rift within his own base. This controversy highlights a growing divide among Trump's supporters. While some people continue to support him regardless of his choices, others feel increasingly betrayed by decisions that don't align with their values. The question that now looms large is whether these supporters will continue to back Trump, or if they will finally decide to turn their backs on him for good. A betrayal to Muslim voters, broken promises, and pro-Israel appointments. Trump's presidency was marked by a series of broken promises, none more glaring than his shift on Middle Eastern policy. During his campaign, he attracted a significant portion of the Muslim vote by promising to avoid unnecessary foreign interventions and focusing on a more America-first foreign policy. His rhetoric suggested that the U.S. would be less involved in the Middle East, focusing instead on addressing domestic issues like immigration and infrastructure. However, once in office, Trump reversed course, particularly when it came to his stance on Israel. Trump's decision to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, a highly controversial act in international politics, was viewed by many as a betrayal of Muslim American voters who had supported him because they believed in his anti-interventionist approach. Trump's appointments of pro-Israel individuals, including his choice of cabinet members with strong ties to the Israeli government, left Muslim American voters disillusioned and deeply disappointed. For many Muslim Americans who voted for Trump, this move felt like a slap in the face. The idea of a neutral U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East was replaced by a stronger alignment with Israel, and Trump's actions seemed to validate the perception that he was more concerned with the interests of foreign governments and political elites than the concerns of everyday Americans. In states like Michigan, where there is a significant Muslim population, this decision left many voters feeling abandoned. Elon Musk's growing influence. MAGA voters fear the oligarchy. One of the most unsettling trends for Trump supporters has been his growing relationship with tech billionaire Elon Musk. Trump's recent decision to appoint Musk as an advisor on matters of government efficiency and innovation has drawn widespread criticism, not just from progressives, but from many in the MAGA base. Musk, known for his tech empire and controversial views, has become a lightning rod for criticism. Many MAGA voters, who once railed against the influence of big corporations in politics, now find themselves questioning Trump's increasingly cozy relationship with the tech mogul. The appointment of Musk, who has often been accused of using his wealth to influence government policy, signals to some voters that Trump is no different from the political elites he once promised to oppose. For those who feared the rise of an oligarchy in America, where a small number of wealthy individuals hold disproportionate power, Trump's relationship with Musk serves as a stark reminder that the system may not have changed as much as they had hoped. As one MAGA voter from Ohio put it, "I didn't vote for Elon Musk to run our country." The economy and national security. MAGA voters face the consequences of Trump's policies. Trump's economic policies have been another source of growing frustration among his base. During his campaign, Trump promised a booming economy with job creation and tax cuts that would benefit the working class. Yet, as his presidency progressed, the economic reality proved far less rosy. Despite record-low unemployment at the beginning of his term, Trump's later years in office were marked by rising income inequality and a volatile stock market. MAGA voters, particularly in key battleground states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, are beginning to realize that Trump's promises of job creation didn't materialize for many working-class Americans. The tax cuts that he pushed through Congress primarily benefited corporations and the wealthiest Americans, leaving many of his core supporters feeling like they had been sold a false dream. The promised prosperity didn't trickle down to the people who needed it most. Moreover, Trump's handling of national security and foreign policy has left many voters questioning his commitment to American interests. His decision to withdraw from Syria and his failure to effectively address the growing threats from China and Russia have raised concerns. MAGA voters, who once supported him for his tough stance on national security, now find themselves wondering if Trump's foreign policy was more about personal political gain than protecting America. The bitter reality for MAGA voters is that the man they supported has let them down in ways they never anticipated. From broken promises about cabinet appointments and foreign policy to the alienation of key voter demographics, Trump has not only failed to deliver on his campaign pledges, but has actively betrayed the people who put him in office. The rise of influential billionaires like Elon Musk, the disastrous cabinet picks, and the shift toward pro-Israel policies are just some of the ways in which Trump has alienated his once loyal supporters. As Election Day draws near, these disillusioned voters are faced with a choice: continue to support a man who has proven to be out of touch with their concerns, or reject him in favor of a new path. For many, the betrayal is too much to ignore. Trump's presidency will likely be remembered not just for its political chaos and controversies, but for the deep betrayal felt by those who once believed in his promises. Whether or not he can win back their trust remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the MAGA base is no longer the unified force it once was.